Hi everyone, so a few days ago I made my video talking about my first uber unique drop, the Doombringer, that I found here in Diablo 4 Season 2. And I promised to follow up with a little bit of information after testing it out. Well, I have, and I gotta say, this item is actually really incredible. So I already thought this would be really good because it has a massive amount of maximum life. As you can see here on the tooltip, it has 41.4% extra maximum life. This is an incredible amount. And when you put this on, you become suddenly a lot tankier. In fact, it's kind of interesting. This thing starts with 26% maximum life, and usually you get 50% extra when you upgrade it 5 times. But it seems like this is actually a multiplicative scaling 5 times to get to that value with a bit of like a rounding error. So that actually works exactly like maximum life works from other sources like the rubies or paragons or something like that. Now you have to know that this maximum life does not increase the flat maximum life that you get, for example, on your rings or on your chest piece or something like that. So there's no interaction between those values. And in fact, having the Doombringer makes those other rolls slightly less valuable because you already get so much life, but you can still stack them up anyway. And it's kind of interesting looking at this. So when I just take this thing on, I have like almost 16k life right now. And with this equipped, I have 20.8k. So it's like a 1/3 increase or so on my rogue here. And I already do have a bunch of like extra maximum life bonuses, like from the rubies, like from the paragons. There are a few notes that I have taken here that actually already increased my life, and it's still such a significant upgrade. And well, mostly in the last few days, I've also been testing a bunch of builds in tier 100 nightmare dungeons and trying out the Doombringer and like moving it again and these kind of things. And you can really feel it's like day and night. So not only do I get like around 1/3 or so extra HP, but I also get the 20% extra damage reduction proc that is here on the Doombringer. So if you combine those two things in EHP values, basically that would be, let's say 1.35 is like, you know, my increase of 35%, and then we divide this again by 0.8. So we get something like 70% extra effective hit points, basically, with this thing equipped and the proc active. Now the proc itself, it doesn't really do a lot of damage. It's kind of weak, but it is somewhat noticeable on small trash monsters. However, the damage reduction is noticeable indeed. And with up to 25% lucky hit, it's not that hard to trigger when you have a decent lucky hit build. So a lot of people also ask me like, I have a 100 Doombringer, what should I do with it? Should I equip this? And at least for rogues, and I would probably say for barbs in many cases as well, I would say absolutely hell yeah. This is such a good item, especially when it comes to high nightmare dungeons where defense is really all that matters, I think. So it's not really hard to get through a tier 100 in terms of damage. You know, if you have any kind of decent build, you can kill stuff and you can give up an offensive power. And the real strength of Doombringer is that you get a defensive power, not just one defensive power, basically the equivalent of at least 2 defensive powers on an offensive slot. And well, defense is very premium in Diablo 4 in my opinion when it comes to the high-end content. It may be easy to survive typical Helltide farming or whatever, but when it comes to tier 100 nightmare dungeons, things look very different. And if that is your goal, Doombringer is a superb item because survival really is everything there in my opinion. So most of my build testing I have been doing without a Doombringer because I mostly want to, you know, get a real picture of builds that I'm trying. Like I've tried like 10 different builds on a rogue or so and almost everything without it. But here and there I wanted to see the impact of this item. And yeah, as I said, it's massive. So if you find this, you should put this on at the very least for any kind of difficult content. And if you have any questions about, for example, which item to replace, if you go to my Maxwell guides, for example, I have that actually listed out there, not just for the Doombringer, but for any of my build guides, any of those uber uniques. So when you go to the progression, there's usually those uniques that fit into the build, and I also have those uber uniques listed, even though I don't put in a planner because that doesn't make much sense. Almost no one is going to have these, even with Duriel in the game, but it will tell you what to replace in what cases. So you might want to check that out as well. I just think that, yeah, putting them in the planner is still too unrealistic. I mean, even someone like me, I have only found a single one of these uber uniques so far, and I've been tryharding quite a bit. I mean, I will do more, you know, I am kind of prepared here with a few mats and stuff, but I have to find people to do a rotation, and you might get lucky, you might get unlucky. I might find another uber unique that I didn't actually want to wear, you know, I might find like a melted Hara or something, and that might be it for the season, who knows. But for now, I can say Doombringer is excellent. And while they're at it, we also have the unique item tier list on Maxo. So just last Saturday, we had a huge discussion with our guide writers here, and we talked through every single unique again. We also listed all of the new uniques here, and of course, basically everything is listed here. So ranked by mostly popularity, like how well do these items fit into builds, how often do they appear in builds, and you kind of get an idea here, like which of those are the better uniques versus which of them are the worst uniques that you don't really care about. So this is also linked in the description if you want to go check it out. We have everything here, so most of the uber uniques are up there. Doombringer is definitely up there because I think it's definitely a superb weapon, and yeah, a bunch of these, but not necessarily all of them are S tier. So this is what I have to say about the Doombringer. There's not really much to see in terms of, like, you know, showing like footage with it or so. I've been trying it out a bit. There's actually not really a good visual, so I was just standing in town here talking about my experiences with it, because there's not much to see really. I'm just a tanky guy basically. But in my opinion, taking like a bit of an offensive hit here and having Doombringer equipped is such a massive upgrade that even if you have kind of decent legendary aspects that you could put in that slot, it's probably still worth it, because you can just go so much more aggressive, you can play so much more offensively, or you can even just use that opportunity to maybe tweak your build in more offense in other ways. You know, for example, you could remove like a defensive aspect and put a utility one, or maybe on Paragons you're gonna pick up less life and then have more damage there or something like that. So I think there's always gonna be opportunity to actually make use of Doombringer if you have one. At least on rogues and bars, because they have so many weapon slots. For necros, they can also wear swords. I'm not so sure about that. It might depend on the build a bit. They have way fewer aspects. So Doombringer might be nice if you're feeling really squishy, but probably I would prefer something else there. So that's my TLDR on the Doombringer for now. Let me know what you think about the weapon if you have it, or what else you think about any other uniques that you might have found. I'll be quite curious. And if I find more, I'll keep you guys updated with some of my experiences. I'm quite excited to try them all out this season. That's it. Hope you liked this little video, and see you guys next time.